Hey, let's talk about that. When you the mission you were on, you got injured.
Yeah. So we were just headed out to Coppedale to exchange to take over Coppedale. We've been on this little road off of Route California hundreds of times. It just got dark. Let's see. So we left Cop Fortress, and I was in the back of the MRAP, and the person who was supposed to drive got pulled for security, and so they needed a driver. So I just jumped up in the front and decided to drive. Tune Sergeant was next to me, and for some reason his door wouldn't shut all the way, so we actually had to stop and fix some of that stuff. Uh, it's dark by this time. We're rolling around this little corner area, and there is a just kind of like an alleyway. Again, I'm driving. I saw the alleyway, but didn't see anything. And all of a sudden, I feel like fire in my right arm, and as I turned to kind of see what bit me, just rolling flames coming where the air conditioner area is. Um, and so I'd taken shrapnel in my right arm, and I remember seeing that rolling fire, and then I remember waking up with my head on the window. I didn't know where I was, and so I opened the door because the halon system has went off, and
Yeah.
I couldn't breathe, and so I didn't know where I was, and I opened my door, and an RPG hit the front of my truck, and the angle that it hit my truck, the MRAP doors don't have much when it's fully extended. It
There's a
doesn't
gap
have
there.
much. There's a gap,
Yeah.
and where my eyes were, I watched that RPG come into the front of my truck, and I watched it hit the front of my truck, but they didn't pull the second pin, and so it didn't go off. And if it would have went off, my face would have been gone. So at that time, I realized I was back in Afghanistan, obviously, RPG. So I shut the door, and our comms have been taken out. We had a hole in our vehicle, about coffee can size, full penetrated. Just I think it was either an RPG-7 or a recoilless rifle.
Yeah.
Don't know exactly. Commo's out. We're the last truck. Uh, this is hilarious. We're talking the opposite of helium. For some reason, the oxygen leaving our brain with the halon or whatever that chemical, we were talking like hello, like we were laughing. Me and the platoon sergeant were sitting there laughing because we were talking to each other, trying to figure out if we're okay, but we're talking in this voice, and so it's super hilarious. Um, can't get anybody on the radio. Our normal SOP, standard procedure, is stay and fight. If we get in contact, we stay and fight. But since we were injured, we didn't have any comms. We wanted to get out of there. Platoon sergeant wanted to get out of there. Didn't have comms, so he told me to ram the vehicle in front of me. So I had to ram the vehicle in front of me about 4 times before they got the memo to take off. We could actually hear comms coming in. We couldn't come
Talk
out.
Yeah.
So we heard them say, "Hey, they're ramming us. They want us to go. They're ramming us. The platoon sergeant wants us to go." So we drove, and honestly, I think Cop Bedell from the point of blast probably was about 5 minutes, but it seemed like an hour.
Yeah.
And I remember driving 10 to 2, and I remember telling myself, "Don't get pulled over. Don't get pulled over." I was so intoxicated
Yeah.
that I had to drive. And then when I pulled into base, I puked from I guess like the chemical stuff. I got out, puked. I did an ACE exam. I failed it. Um,
Could you kind of break down what an ACE exam is?
and I might not be saying it right, but there's the exam that happens after a blast. And it might be like it's not the LACE report. That's the ammo thing. But I think it's the ACE exam. And they do a couple of checks and just to check functioning. Um,
Check your,
It's a cognitive skills test
check your bell.
for TBI.
And
Yeah, I
it-
can't remember the name of it either.
It was Doc doing it, so
Yeah.
our medic was doing it. He he was digging around in my arm, and when I say the shrapnel in my arm, I mean it was tiny. It was cigarette hole size. He couldn't find any stuff when he was pulling it out, but he dug in a little bit, and I remember my PL saying something about something that pissed me off, and I snapped at him, and he was like, "Just making sure you're okay." So he was doing it to kind of check my response, because it kind of pissed, whatever he said, I don't remember it, whatever he said pissed me off. And then I remember going back to my hooch. I remember acting a little drunk, acting a little intoxicated. I fell asleep that night, woke up the next day, continued mission. Nothing happened. Nothing. We just, I had to, I think I came to, like, mentally, like, I think I came to like maybe a month or two afterwards. Like, it took really a while to like be like, oh shit, like I have some, there's something different, like a brain functioning. There's something, and I kind of just was kind of like in a weird little spot there.
Now, did you ever reach out to like mental health or anything like? Did they ever come around and
we had this
and start talking to you?
We had this amazing Army psychologist that came to our location, to our COP. I think like once a month.
Oh wow!
Yeah,
It started getting really good there.
Wow.
Yeah.